Good morning. I'm Junior from Here for You Life Coaching. Good morning, Sarah. So I'm going to teach you how imagination works. Okay? Because when I was a kid, right, people were like, "You live in a fantasy world." And I was like, "Yeah, that's right, I do." Uh, and the funny part about I did not know this. Okay, but the funny part about this is when I grew up, when I got older, and I started learning, because it took a lot of study. This is not something that I just did or invented or anything. No, anybody can do this. Okay, this is in here. You were designed like this. Okay, this whole thing right here is a simulation. Okay, your eyes retrieve data and then it puts it together and it creates a simulation. So you live in a simulation. When people say we live in a simulation, they're probably correct only because we are the microcosm of the macrocosm. We are the smaller version of the larger version. So if there's a simulation in here, there's a simulation out here. Okay? So first, like, how does this work? How does it, how does it function? How do we make this thing happen? Okay, well, the first thing is imagination. Now, Einstein told you, okay, education will take you from A to B, but imagination will take you everywhere. Why is that? It's because imagination comes from, get ready for it, wait for it, the right side. Okay, we always talk about the right side. Now, I'm not demonizing the left side, the left hemisphere of the brain. I'm not demonizing the left side. It will demonize itself. It doesn't need any help from me. Okay, but this is logic. This is when you are locked in to something logical. Okay, so you can't get out of the box, so to speak, right? And guess who is making all the headlines these days? Elon Musk. Do you think he's a left brain person? Well, he has a lot of those skills, but he's mostly a right brain person. Imagination. So, imagination, creativity, foresight, all of these things come from the right hemisphere. Okay, this is why Jesus sits at the right hand of the Father, and I'll say it again. Cast your net to the right. Okay. But imagination leads to reality. How does that happen? Well, first you think it. Okay. In imagination, you visualize it. Okay. Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. You visualize it. Now, what I learned in the adulthood that I did not know as a kid was that not everybody can imagine. So I had to teach people how to imagine. Now, is it that some people are born with imagination and some people are not? No, it's not. Everybody has an imagination. Remember when you were a kid? Remember you could imagine things? And then what happened? Well, you had to grow up. And then what happened? Well, it was immature, right? Right around intermediate school. It's immature to behave like that. But you remember how happy third grade was? Remember second grade and kindergarten? And then when your teacher told you a story, like you could see it in your mind. And then right around intermediate school, right? People are like, well, you can't behave like that anymore. This is intermediate school now. And pretty soon you'll go to high school and they'll beat you up. They told me all kinds of stories like that to try to make me conform. Okay. But I guess I'm just a born nonconformist because I didn't buy into it. It may have had to do with, me being an only child. So I always had to entertain myself. I always had to make up jokes for myself because nobody else was around. Okay. My parents were not my audience. They did not want to have any part of that. Okay. So, good morning, guys. Good morning. Good morning, Kyla. So, they didn't want to have any part of that. Okay. So I had to do it all by myself. I had to come up with things to entertain myself. It's true that some of us forget how to make, yeah, most of us. Um, so I did not know that, Sarah, but the majority of people have no imagination. But it's not that they don't have it or they can't do it. They've been conditioned out of it. You know how your left brain, so this is left brain, logic, okay? And logically, you need to be mature. Logically, you need to grow up. Logically, you need to leave that childish imagination, behavior behind, okay? Good morning, Manuel. Good morning. I see you, buddy. So when you have to leave these behaviors behind, what happens? You leave the magical part of yourself behind. And then pretty soon it's like, well, I don't do that anymore because I'm going to be cool now. I'm in intermediate school. So you leave that part of you behind. What happens when you do that? You start missing out. Why? Because now you're being conditioned into the left side. But Jesus sits on the right. The journey of Moses. Left brain, migration over to right brain. Because otherwise you get stuck. Otherwise you get confined into logic. If everybody were conditioned into logic, we'd have no inventions. We would have no Benjamin Franklin. We would have no Thomas Edison. We would have no Wright brothers. Imagine the Wright brothers. Everybody sat around going, hey, those guys are crazy. You know, if God, right, would have meant man to have wings, he would have given them wings, right? If he meant man to fly, would have, see? And now we sit in a chair up in the sky at frightening speeds, and we travel the world. So how does this happen? Well, number one, your imagination, okay, simulates the future. What you think about today, the things that you think about, especially with emotion, okay, because we know this, right? We've been studying this. So emotion makes the strongest imprint on your subconscious. Manifestation is subconscious. Okay, so how does that work? Well, you think about something, you get excited about it, or you get angry about it. Okay, either way. If you're getting angry about something and you think about it for too long and you're still angry, or every time you think about it, you get angry, it's triggering you. Guess what? We talked about this the other day, okay? It goes into your subconscious. So your subconscious doesn't know the difference between right or wrong, good or bad. It will just take orders. So if the imprint is negative on your subconscious, guess what? That's your program. Then it will start to repeat because your subconscious will look for evidence. So when you imagine something positive, something good, okay, just be excited about it. The biggest thing for my business, because my business clients are really left brain people, they're brilliant. They're brilliant people. And it's a little childish for them to imagine, right? Imagine. But one question I get all the time is like, what if I'm not really truly excited? How do I work myself up to get excited about it? So now we go back to energy. Okay? Emotion is energy. If the thought is positive, the intention is all that matters. If the thought is positive, if the intention is good, because you can't have a good intention and be angry at the same time. Anger cannot live where positivity is, and vice versa. Okay. So if your putting something in your subconscious with emotion and the intent behind it. Okay. You know, like they say, God knows your heart. You could say God, you could say source, you could say Jesus Christ, you could say universe. It means that God or the creator or however you believe, higher self, understands your intention. And that's the only thing it understands. It doesn't work off of your words. God is an energy. God is a field. And when you make an impression on this field, it will return it to you in kind. What does that mean? Well, if you're angry, angry circumstances will come back. It will be returned to you that way. God doesn't judge. God never judges. Ever. We do. We judge through our actions, which result in circumstances. When this happens, when you put that impression on your subconscious, it begins to remember. If you do it often enough, it will remember and start to recreate that process or that thought or that intention. And now it looks for evidence. Now it starts to say, hey, maybe you can do it this way, this way, this way. Maybe this will lead to that. Maybe this will lead to that. Maybe that will lead to that. So what I do is with the vocalization exercise, I get my clients to the point where they can see the synchronicities. Okay? Because the vocalization exercise gets rid of anxiety, doubt, fear, guilt, shame, all of that. Just with your voice. But you have to project these strong tones. But by the third session, people feel this stuff. They go, whoa, wow. How did I get clear? You got clear because your neurotransmitters are firing oxytocin and endorphins. So you're healing. Not in the medical sense. I can't make medical claims. I'm not a doctor, okay? Okay. But healing in the sense that if you're suffering from anxiety, and you do suffer if you have anxiety, okay? Because it's not fun. I've had it. Okay? So you can suffer from overthinking, right? Why? How do you suffer from overthinking? It's mental anguish. You're overthinking. You're thinking too much. You're reading too much into it. That kind of thing. Overthinking. And then your thoughts get faster. And then you switch from thought to thought. Why? Because you're the most amazing thing on the planet. You're a human. You have that capability. You can switch from thing to thing to thing to thing. The amygdala is helping you do that. What does it do? It gives you all the negative what ifs. All the negative what ifs are rooted in fear. So you can start out by being anxious. You can start by worrying. Then you worry about something. Then your amygdala goes, okay, what if this? What if that? What if this happens? What if that happens? What if this happens? What if that? Pretty soon you have all these thoughts. Now, if you're a female, okay, you're designed, you're hardwired for survival because you raise children. You're able to raise children. You're designed that way. So now the negativity bias is amplified. Or you can say it's worse. Now, negativity on steroids is happening. Because you can multitask. Okay? And what I always say is so you can talk on the phone, cook dinner, and watch baby all at the same time. Simultaneously. Men can do a little bit of that, but we get burnt out. We don't want to do it. We give up. We throw in the towel. Why? Because it's easier for us to focus on one thing at a time and think about it like really well. Women are emotional beings. So when they get in that mode, right? Negative, 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 right? Triple times negativity, like 3 negative thoughts, they start to go in a negative spiral. Think about 3 thoughts. And then you get a negative what if here, negative what if here, negative what if here, and it keeps going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You get emotionally overwhelmed. Then you think something is wrong with you. Then what? Then there's a lot of mental anguish. What's the cure, ladies? A good cry. And that's the purging of all of that negative energy. That's nature's solution, the biological solution. Nothing like a good cry, right? And then you're all good, brand new after that, right? Brand new. You're not crying because it hurts. You're crying because you're frustrated, because everything is boom, 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 like that. The vocalization takes that away, takes it away. So, imagination, okay? Now, imagination, you're visualizing something, okay? So the first thing you do is ask yourself the question, what do I want the end result to look like? Like when this whole thing is completed, what's the picture at the end of the tunnel? You know, the light at the end of the tunnel? Okay, so when you get to the light, when you get there, what's that going to look like? So now you have to be exact. You have to make a list. You have to write these things down. Don't just say, I want a new car. That could be anything. It could be a new Toyota. You could have had a new Mercedes. It could have been a new Fiat, and maybe you wanted a new BMW, and you just said new car. I want a brand new red BMW convertible, 2026, white upholstery. You see? Like that, okay? Because you have to draw the picture. So you have to write it out, okay? Don't just think about it. When you think about it, thoughts come and go, thoughts come and go. When you write it, it goes into your subconscious. So you write it down, make a list. You know, we did this live on the radio once. So I used to do radio. I used to do entertainment because that's what I really wanted to do. I did not want to be a teacher. I did a podcast called I Ran from Teaching. And I ran as hard and as fast as I could for years. But you know what? God has a way of going, no, 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 no. You come back, you go over here. God did that to me. You know? God has a way of doing that. But that's your subconscious, your beliefs, your core beliefs, okay? That's your subconscious. I was running from that. Because I know I'm a teacher inside, because I always taught. I've taught for 37 years, but I wanted to do entertainment, so I did that. And I thought, well, to do my music, I can get in the radio, and then I can when I get in the radio, I'll be around music people, you know, so I did it the long way. But I was teaching at home all the time and at my school. I built a school. So all of these things were happening simultaneously. I lived 4 careers all at the same time because I kept building companies. They were all related, they're all related, and they work synergistically today. But I'm not here to flex or anything. You can look my name up, look me up online. You'll see everything, you'll see all the work we do. It's all there. It's on Facebook, it's on Instagram, it's on YouTube, it's all over. Just put my name in there and keep going through the pages. There's tons of pages. Okay, but what I will say about my work is it wasn't really work for me. Yes, it was time consuming. Yes, it did take effort. Yes, it did take work. But the work was stuff I loved, so I didn't really look at it like hard. it wasn't hard work. People tell me I worked hard. I'm like, I worked long. I didn't work hard. I don't think I've ever worked hard. I just worked long. But when you put that idea into your subconscious, just know that energy is emotion, is feeling. They're all the same thing. Energy. If the intention is good, even if you're faking it, because the intention is good, you are imprinting your subconscious. Okay? So if you're like, woohoo, I'm gonna do whatever, right? And then boom, it's imprinted because of energy. So I teach 3-year-olds, right? Once in a blue moon, I'll teach a 3-year-old. And people in Hawaii, so I'm in Hawaii. People in Hawaii go, wow, you teach 3-year-olds? We go all over the place and they only take them from 6 years old and up. And I'm like, well, if you can't relate to a 3-year-old, you're not much of a teacher. Okay? You have to have patience, but you have to know how to work with a 3-year-old. They're brilliant. They're amazing. This is why you see 5-year-old geniuses on YouTube. Okay? And this was a direct result of the digital world because other children could see gifted children. And then it became subconscious learning. They saw a gifted child and they were young, right? Maybe 2, maybe 3, whatever, doesn't matter. Maybe younger. And they saw it, they took in the data. Okay, they absorbed the data. Children are sponges until 7. Everything is heightened learning until 7. So they take in data in large quantities and they focus on it. Like little computers receiving downloads, okay? Then what happens? Then they start to imitate what they see. So it's all about what you're attracted to, okay? It's all about what you're attracted to. Sometimes, of course, genetics play a role in that. If your family has music in there and there's a talented piano player in the family, maybe it's piano. Maybe it just comes right down the gene pool because all cells have memory. But the digital age showed people, right, especially little kids, little babies, other talented little kids. And they went, oh, wow, I can do that. So you get an idea, you imprint it in your subconscious. But the reason I said I teach 3-year-olds, right, is because 3-year-olds don't know about feeling. They don't understand the word feeling. They're 3. But if you tell a 3-year-old, give me more energy, they will sing with feeling. So energy and feeling are synonymous. So a lot of people tell me, well, I don't know, like how am I gonna fake this thing because I'm not really feeling it. Use energy, and guess what? As long as your intent is good, okay, your heart, that's a metaphor. But as long as your intention is good, and you're like woohoo, whatever, that's energy. It will imprint in your subconscious. Your subconscious listens to your voice over everyone else. It recognizes your image over everyone else. It will empower you over everyone else. Okay? You have your own gifts. Okay? God is real. Okay? It's a little different than they tell you in church, but God is very real. You make the decision to be good or bad, or good or evil, or however you want to say it, light or dark. You want to follow the light, you want to follow the dark. The dark is just the absence of light. Evil is just the absence of good. But you decide which one you want to be. With my technology, with my teaching, it will make you a really, really good bad person or a really, really good person. I'm not here to make any moral judgments or urges to urge you to be a good person or a bad person, whatever. You do what you want. I'm just telling you how it works. So when you imprint the subconscious with energy, okay, and your intention is good, it will go in your subconscious good. It will imprint into your subconscious. Then what happens? Then your subconscious starts believing it. It's a belief now in your subconscious. Now what happens? Your subconscious starts pulling data, okay? Because your subconscious is everything you've ever thought, everything you've ever seen, a culmination of all of your senses. Now what happens? Well, now it goes, hey, maybe you should do this. Maybe you should do this. Maybe you should do this. Do this. All based upon what you believe. God operates on what you believe because there's a conscious, subconscious, superconscious. The superconscious is God. I'm not here to tell you what to believe in. I'm just telling you what God, Creator, higher self, Jesus Christ, Allah, that's superconscious. We're going to use that label for that, just so we don't offend anyone. You believe as you wish. But it only works on what you believe. That's it. So it's important that you believe in accordance with your desires. So if you desire to be a good person, but you believe you're a failure, you believe you feel guilty, you feel shameful, and you want to be a good person, now there's a conflict. There's a conflict of interest. Because your intentions don't match your beliefs. What's the solution? Change the beliefs in the subconscious. How do you do that? Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. Okay. So today we're talking about how to imagine. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Rosanna. Hi, Rosanna. How you doing? So how do you do this? Make that imprint in your subconscious. Now, when your subconscious believes it, your subconscious will make suggestions to you. Your subconscious will start to create avenues towards your goal, towards whatever it is you imprinted, towards the belief. A belief is a thought you keep thinking. If you keep thinking the thought, you'll believe it. I don't care what it is. If you keep thinking the moon is made of cheese, one day you'll look at the moon, you go, you know, it kind of does look like cheese. I'm being silly about it, but human beings are like that. Okay? That's why people can be brainwashed. Okay, brainwashing is just a term for conditioning. You get conditioned by your TV, you get conditioned by social media, you get conditioned by movies, you get conditioned by all kinds of stuff. You get conditioned by parents, well-meaning friends and family. You get conditioned by humans are very impressionable. You get conditioned by everything. Things that you don't even know you're being conditioned by because it's in your below subconscious. It's like looking at an iceberg. Okay, the conscious mind is 5% way up here at the top, the little cone at the top. Okay, but down here under the water, there's a huge volume of memory in your subconscious. So your ears are always listening, always feeding your subconscious. Your eyes, you cannot unsee things. And your subconscious is your book of life. Everything is recorded in the subconscious. That's your book of life. You cannot unsee things. You cannot undo your actions. But you can repent for your actions. You can apologize for your actions. You can clear the slate. You can clear the subconscious. We talked about how to do that the other day, right? Okay? The conscious, subconscious, and superconscious. The conscious mind is the gatekeeper. It's the decision maker. It decides, okay, This will be the goal. We're going to do this. And then this goes into the subconscious as a belief, whatever this is. It could be going on a diet, could be passing a test, could be working on a career, could be finding a love of your life. Doesn't matter what it is. Then the superconscious, once it's a belief, the superconscious goes, oh, that's what we're working on? Okay. And the superconscious will give you intuitive thought on it. The superconscious, God, will start to open the doors as you take the steps. I'm showing one of my business clients this. I do executive coaching. I take other people here and there, but my primary niche, if you will, is executive coaching. And he's one of my executives. He's a business client. And he was so left brain, right? Brilliant guy, brilliant. All of my clients are brilliant. That's who they are. That's why they're executives. They're brilliant. But when it comes to the right side, the spiritual side, it's illogical to them. Oh, well, okay. I get that in the beginning, right? Now you know what he's telling me? After 1 year, working with him for 1 year, you know what he's telling me now? He's telling me like, I started doing something today and I saw everything in motion. I saw the doors opening. This started happening, that started happening, and it was all because I started working on this. I started sending out the emails, people started responding, and then, I saw how this is going to pan out. That's called foresight. That's called looking at the synchronicities. It's not psychic. It's being a human being. You can notice these things if you're not hypnotized, if you're not under the societal hypnosis that wants you distracted into the football game, distracted into the music concert, distracted onto social media, distracted into the movies, distracted into the girls, distracted into the guys, whatever. And none of these things are wrong or bad. If you're attracted to men, women, whatever, okay, that's a human thing. We are bonding creatures. We are social creatures. Nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, whatever your distraction, some people are distracted by gambling. There's no judgment. Nothing is bad until it's too much, right? Until it starts taking you away from something else. That's why drug addiction is so bad. It starts taking people away from family. It starts taking people away from their job. First you start calling in sick. You do it too much, you get fired. Oops, too much, right? It doesn't matter what it is. Moderation is key. Balance is key. Explain discernment. Discernment is a spiritual process. If you meditate, discernment is automatic. So when you meditate, when you are still, when you close your eyes and you are still and you are with God, God will give you the answer. That's why we have the expression, be still and know. It's a thing. It's one of the 4 pillars: affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. Discernment is a natural thing in human beings. But it's very difficult to discern anything if you're constantly being distracted into the physical world. You're a spiritual being. You're not your body. You're not your name. You're that energy that lives in here. And if you're being shown this shiny object and this shiny object and this, you're being distracted into different realities. Because the data that goes into your simulation, okay, into your subconscious, will overwhelm you. This is why people pray and meditate. So, first, imagination goes into your subconscious with energy. Okay? Make sure your intention is good. Okay? So, if you have a good intention and you fake the emotion, you're still producing energy. It imprints the subconscious. Okay? Your prefrontal cortex, okay? That's the gatekeeper. That's the idea person. That's the blueprint maker. It makes the blueprint. It says, okay, we're gonna go for this. It decides for you. It decides for you. And then it starts to say, okay, we're gonna commit to this. And then it thinks about it over and over and over and over. And a belief is a thought you keep thinking, and then in the subconscious, it's a belief. Now when it's a belief, what happens? Now when it's a belief, it starts looking for evidence. So let's say it's a positive belief. Let's say, I believe in myself. The subconscious will go, hey, remember in 5th grade when you aced out the test? Hey, remember when you were on honor roll in 6th grade? Hey, remember when you graduated with honors from high school? Hey, remember in college when you got your degree? Remember how good you felt? You're awesome. What happens the other way? When you think you're a failure, when you think you're a victim, when you think everything happens to me, if you think life happens like this, okay, change your thinking. Life unfolds for you like this. It unfolds according to your subconscious. Because that's what God is amplifying, your subconscious. God knows your heart. God knows your subconscious. Okay? God doesn't know your heart. It's not talking about that. It's talking about your beliefs, what you believe. And this is why if you don't believe in God, God doesn't exist, you're committing blasphemy of the Holy Spirit, denying the Holy Spirit, it doesn't exist. Okay, your choice. But in that instance, God will not work. Why? Because you're not allowing it. You're not embracing it. You're not welcoming it. Therefore, it will not serve you. God works on the subconscious. So now, it starts to amplify that. It starts to open doors as you take the steps. It starts to bring the right people into play as you take the steps. I always use the XYZ company. If you've heard this, please, Sarah, I know you've heard it probably 10 times already, maybe more. Okay, Sarah, bear with me. All right, but you want to work at the XYZ company. It's a cool company. They have good benefits. They pay well. You want to work there. Okay, so first, what do? Affirmations. I am so happy and grateful now that I work at the XYZ company. Thank you. There you go. Now you're going to write it every day. When your brain is in theta state, relaxed, fully relaxed state, when you first wake up, before you do anything, before coffee, before all of that, before you start talking, when you're just quiet and relaxed, write it out. Then what do? Speak it on the way to bed at night, just before you turn off the light to go to sleep, to put your head on the pillow. So last night, right, and every night, I speak my dreams out loud when I'm on my pillow. Last night, I was just speaking about the good day I'm going to have today. And I said it in the form of, thank you, God, for such a wonderful day tomorrow. Thank you, God, for such a great life tomorrow. Thank you, God, for such good guidance tomorrow. Things like that, okay? When you do that, especially in gratitude, okay? Because we already know what gratitude does to your brain chemistry, right? We went over that earlier in the week. Or I think it was last week, Thanksgiving week. We went over gratitude. Sorry, I do a live every day, so I lose track in real time. My ADHD, yeah, it's a thing. So now God works off of your subconscious. So what happens to the XYZ company thingy? Well, in about 2 weeks, you're going to experience a shift. Because in 2 weeks, your subconscious goes, I think this is supposed to be a belief. I think. Okay? It takes 66 days to form a new habit. Minimum. 66 days. But in 2 weeks, you kind of feel a shift and you go, wow, I feel different. That's your subconscious beginning to work. So now what? Well, affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. The meditation. You're going to sit still for 10 minutes. If you can't do 10, do 5 and work your way up. Everything starts small and grows, okay? This is why you cannot graduate from college with a PhD and become the CEO tomorrow. That's why, okay? I meet a lot of young people who give me these unrealistic timelines all the time, okay? But then when I put them through the process, they go, oh, okay, I got it, uncle, I got it. So what happens now? What happens next? Well, in about 2 weeks, when you start feeling the shift, you're at the gym, and now you're talking to somebody. Maybe you're at the machine talking about exercise, whatever it is, nutrition, maybe food, whatever, and you're talking. And pretty soon it's like, hey, well, what do you do? Oh, I'm an HR person. Where do you work at? XYZ company. Oh man, I was just thinking about working there. Oh, really? We have openings. Come over and fill out an app. Coincidence or superconscious? If you believe in God, or if you say you believe in God, if you say you believe in God, if that's what you're telling people, if that's what you do, go to church every Sunday, that kind of thing, right? Then nothing is a coincidence. It's all the superconscious or God. Because you cannot pick and choose. You can't say, well, this over here, I met that guy and XYZ company got that job too, like in a couple more weeks, in 1 month. It took me 1 month. And all I did was write an affirmation, speak it out loud. Okay. And then this thing happened. God brought this guy into play. And then the doors began to open. If you believe in God, you can't see that as a coincidence. If you don't believe in God, yeah, okay, coincidence. Then everything is random. You're living this random life. Okay? It's like waking up and you don't know if there's a meteor shower outside or whatever. Okay? What's going to happen to me today? That's like being a bowling pin waiting for the ball. If you want to see, how many of us get knocked down today? Like, do I get knocked down today or tomorrow? What's going to happen today? You're living a random life in that instance. What would you say to a 16-year-old boy who finds himself unsure about his future? I work a lot. I work with tons of teenagers. So if he's unsure, it's a confidence issue. That's all. I develop confidence in people. You can, Jay, can you put up the website so they can look at the reviews? Just put the title. So it's Here For You Life Coaching on Google in Hawaii. And just pull up my, you can pull that up. I have another school. It's Voicemaster Vocal Development, where we only do the vocalization process because it works for singers. So you can look on both of those on Google, and Voicemaster is also on Trustpilot. And they are all 5-star reviews, like all three sites, 5-star reviews. That's kind of a flex. It's kind of a flex, but it is what it is. It's there. But we only get 5-star reviews because I deal with human beings. And I know how to bring out the magic of the human being, okay? It's not magic like a magic show. It's not magic like you rub the magic lamp and something just happens. It's not that kind of magic. You make magic. You're a human. You're the highest intelligence on the planet. And most people take it for granted. If I was sleeping on a sidewalk in 1980, or maybe 81, somewhere on there. I was sleeping on a sidewalk for months after making some really bad decisions that young people make. Very bad decisions, but I was having fun. And then when I ended up on the street, I was having fun. I wasn't mad at God. I wasn't mad at anyone. I was having fun. Okay? But then the natural progression of things started happening. You manifest who you are. You can manifest what you want easily. This whole process I'm describing today will bring you anything. If you apply affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization to any one thing, it has to happen. It cannot not happen. Now, if you're writing an affirmation to win the lottery, if you haven't won a lottery before, it's not logic or logical to your subconscious. Because your subconscious is going to look for evidence of it, okay? This is why. And there's no evidence that you ever won a lottery, that you've ever had tons of cash in your hand before. And this is why you have to grow it. This is why you have to start. I started with $20. Then I went to $50. Then I went to $100. Then I went to $200. Then I went to $500. Then I went to $1,000. Then I went to $1,500. And then finally I went to $5,000. But you have to level up like anything else. You don't put a seed in the ground and tomorrow you pick the oranges. That does not happen. But with practice, okay, with conditioning. Here, you want to see conditioning? So positive, let me reach down here. Positive, sorry, I'm just knocking over all kinds of stuff. Okay, but this is conditioning. This is subconscious conditioning. This is the new one I'm working on, only about that much, okay? And these are affirmations, okay? They're not journaling. This is not journaling. I have a warning about journaling. Journaling is not always good depending on how you do it. But here, these are affirmations. Okay, these are instructions to my subconscious. These are requests to my subconscious. Okay, I know it looks crazy. I have like 12 of those in storage. And you know, when I have a video, if you're on any of my accounts, you can find the video. And I have the video with stacks all over my desk of you know, used up. Been doing it since 2007. But when you exercise your subconscious like this, when you condition it like this, it's the same as if you condition by doing this. It's the same thing as doing this all day long. Here, over here, you're stuck in here, you're being conditioned by this one, depending on what you're watching. And I already told you how things from here start appearing in your real life, because of your reticular activating system in your brainstem. Actually, your brainstem is in here, over there. Anyway, okay, so for those of you who are maybe just watching today and you want to know, how does that happen? Okay, so your reticular activating system is your filter in here. It filters out what you're not focused on, and it filters in what you're focused on. So you know that phenomenon, like that red Corvette convertible, right? And then you see it online, right? Wow, cool, man. Wow, look at that convertible. Maybe you take a screenshot of it, right? Maybe you save it, right? Look at it every once in a while. Now what? Your subconscious goes, oh, I believe he's looking for a red Corvette convertible, right? And then what happens? The reticular activating system goes, oh, okay, red Corvette convertible. And now you start seeing them all over the place in real life. It started here, okay? It started here, it went into your subconscious. Your reticular activating system goes, okay, we'll look for that. And then you see it out here in the world, in the physical world. This is why advertising works. Okay, advertising works. You see it on TV, you see the commercial every night, right? Every night. Pretty soon what? I worked in advertising for years, 40 years. Radio, television, and advertising. Multimedia, 40 years. I've had simultaneous careers. What happens? Well, in 2 weeks, research says in 2 weeks, and that's why advertisers buy a 2-week schedule at a time. It takes 2 weeks to sink into your subconscious. Just like I told you about the 2 weeks when you write an affirmation, it starts, you feel that shift. And in 2 weeks, guess what? You're watching the steakhouse. Pretty soon you're hungry for steak in 2 weeks. What's the first place you're going to think of? That steakhouse. That's how advertising works. Pretty soon you find yourself sitting down, manifested the steak dinner, right? Your reticular activating system is going to start showing you meat. It's going to start showing you steak. You're going to be standing on the street corner talking to your friend about going to the steakhouse. You know, well, one of these days I'm going to go try that place. And then you see the meat truck drive by. That's synchronicity. How does that happen? Your reticular activating system filtered it to you, showed it to you. You may have missed it if that were not the topic in your subconscious. Okay, so that's how that works. How does this help you with manifestation? Oh, it helps you a lot. Because whatever it is you're focused on, okay? If you're focused on gambling, if you're focused on productivity, if you're focused on whatever, okay, surfing, if you're focused on skiing, if you're focused on girls, if you're focused on marriage, if you're focused on whatever, that will come into your life. You'll start seeing commercials about it. You start, okay, if you're online, right, let me clarify. If you're online, there are algorithms. But the algorithm will follow you into real life the way I just described. Online, it's an algorithm. When you see things on here, it's not a coincidence. They're listening to you. They're seeing how you react to things all through your phone. Okay? When you make an expression like that, you know, like, wow, can't believe I saw that. Okay? It sees you. Do the research. You'll find it. Okay? It's true. Okay? It reads you to sell products, not to spy on you, although, you know, yeah, there's that. But there's a capability. But on here, it's on here, okay? There's an algorithm here. Your reticular activating system creates an algorithm here in the physical world. And you're this spiritual being in here. You're not your body. You're not your name. You're that spiritual being in here. And now you have brought it from here online into your physical world. And now all the drama that you see online, right? Drama. If drama's the theme, guess what? You're going to see drama out here. You may not be a part of it, but you're going to see it. You're going to see fights happening online, whatever. And then pretty soon, your reticular activating system will show it to you in public, in person, somewhere. Or maybe it's MMA fights on a TV screen in a mall. Okay, it'll be related. But that's how powerful you are as a human being. So what do? Well, you aim these 4 pillars at something positive. I'm not here to sell you anything. There's no sales pitch at the end of this. Okay, we're going to be done in 5 minutes. There's no sales pitch. Okay. Just look up my name and put teaching method next to it in any AI or in any Google, any browser. It'll give you all the information for free. I'm just trying to do my part so that you know that this is not magic. This is not, you don't have to sign up for a $1,500 course to tell you that this is how you work, that this is how you are, that this is how gifted you are, that this is how advanced you are as a human being. As a human being. God lives in here. The kingdom is within. Jesus Christ told us that. Gautama Buddha told you too, but he said it in a different way. Krishna told you too, but he said it in a different way. Zoroaster told you too, but he said it in a different way. We are a very special species. and we have evolved, and we are evolving. The world is changing, and it's changing quickly now because of technology. Very quickly. Thank you, Jay. Very, very quickly. So, recapping, imagination is visualization. You visualize, picture your final outcome, picture yourself driving the car, but define the car. What are you driving? Are you driving a Mercedes? Are you driving a BMW? Are you driving a Toyota? Driving a Fiat? What color is it? What kind of interior does it have? What color are the seats? Okay, when you start to write these things down, you will see it in your head. Okay, the majority of people don't imagine. Imagination has been conditioned out of them because you have to grow up at a certain age in school. Okay, so you leave it behind. I just refused. That's all. Okay. And I started using it to make money, and it made tons of money. In 2010, we went over the $1 million mark, and we were like, whoa, because we were just having fun. We were just having fun. When I did my Waikiki show in Waikiki, in Honolulu, we have a famous beach called Waikiki Beach. I did my show. We just had fun and let everybody watch. That was it. That's another story for another time, but we just had fun. That's all we did. And I brought all my kids with me, all my neighborhood performers, put them all in Waikiki. We had the time of our lives. And you can do it too. No matter what it is, no matter what your dream is. Number one, don't give up on your dreams. Don't think that they're impossible. Apply these 4 pillars. Go search me up on a AI or search me up on any website. Put teaching method. You can live your dreams. Follow the formula. Because it's all subconscious. Okay, manifestation is subconscious. Visualization, vision boards, they're not evil. They're your subconscious. It works off your subconscious. Okay? But whatever beliefs are in your subconscious, God looks at that and goes, okay, that's what we're working with. And God will either reward you for the good stuff that you believe or the bad stuff that you believe, or both. So how do you tip the scales? Okay, 50 percentile. Okay, positive, negative. All you need to do is push this puppy over the line. 1%. That's it. That's the shift you need. 1%. Okay? Now 51% of your life is positive. 49 is negative. Guess what? You've changed your life. You're having a better life. And guess what? When you start living the 51%, what happens? It starts to grow automatically. It starts to grow all by itself. And then what happens? Then you end up with more. At a certain point, it will slow down. It's not going to go to 100, never go to 100. Okay? 80 is a stretch. Okay? 55 can. 58 can. 60 can. After 60, you really got to try hard to push it further. Okay? But you don't need to. Because if 55% of your life is positive, you're living a really, really, really good life. But the special part, the best part, okay, is that you have control. You have control over your life. You have control over your emotions, emotionally intelligent, okay? These are all the side effects. You have control over what you bring in and what your conscious mind says, nope, stop. And you get rid of the thought. So tomorrow we'll continue more. Jay is giving me the sign over here. Okay, yeah. Sorry, I'm a little bit over. Yep. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sarah. Sarah, I shall see you tomorrow after the live. Today's my day off, and Yeah, well, I actually have one client later today, but most of the day it's just gonna, I don't know, go to Starbucks and have a coffee or something. But anyway, but there you go, guys. Okay, so yeah, God is real. God is very real. And when you make a positive impression on God, guess what? God blesses you. Okay, because like attracts like, and all the like things. Okay, like the good you're doing, like the good attitude you have, all the good people come, all the good circumstances start to happen, all the good blessings come. And guess what? You go, oh, wow, coincidence? If you believe in God, there's no coincidence. It's all God. Okay? So until tomorrow, God bless you guys. Thank you. Take care. And yeah, we're going to disconnect from our stream on Streamlabs.